Despite the abundance of food products in the Western world, it is estimated that up to 1/3 of the population might be suffering from micronutrient deficiencies. This is what researchers refer to as hidden hunger. That's why today we're discussing nutrient synergy, or the art of pairing nutrients, vitamins, minerals, fats, proteins in a way that helps you make the most out of the food that you already eat. All of the info in the video is science-backed, and if you're interested in reading something for yourself, it is all linked down in the description box below. We're going to start off with all of the different fat-soluble vitamins with a greater focus on vitamin A. We have fat-soluble and water-soluble vitamins. The water-soluble ones are vitamin C and all of the B vitamins, while the fat-soluble ones are vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K1 and K2, and vitamin A. The fat-soluble ones are hydrophobic and they require an additional fat source to be properly absorbed in our small intestine. Vitamin A comes in two different variations in our diet. The first one is preformed vitamin A. Those are the retinoids. They are found in beef liver, in all of the dairy products, so cheese and milk, in butter as well. And this specific form is more easily absorbed and much better utilized in our bodies for all of the different functions that require vitamin A, such as maintaining skin health, proper immune function, improving vision in the dark, and cell growth. Provitamin A is the form found in the different plant sources of vitamin A, such as carrots, mangoes, most of them orange and yellow, fruits and vegetables, leafy greens, and broccoli. There are different subgroups of provitamin A compounds, but the most popular one, also in research, would be beta-carotene. This is the one that also has the highest absorption rate and highest conversion rate to vitamin A. However, when I say higher conversion rate, it's still pretty low compared to the preformed vitamin A. Research estimates it to be in a ratio of 12:1, considering the lower uptake of beta-carotene from diverse plant products. It depends on the food matrix of the product and also on the processing, how much of the beta-carotene is going to be absorbed. While for the US citizens, most of the vitamin A comes from animal sources. For other parts of the world, or generally for people who don't consume that much dairy or that much organ meats, for them this information is crucial to meet their vitamin A requirements. From all of the different food products, we absorb plenty of beta-carotene from carrots. Up to 65% of the beta-carotene found in carrots is uptaken in our intestine, especially if the carrots have been cooked in the presence of fat. To compare this with other food products, for broccoli the estimated absorption is about 12%, and dark leafy vegetables such as spinach have probably the most difficult matrix out of all the different vitamin A sources. As already mentioned with the carrots, cooking the vegetables improves the bioavailability greatly. And if you do that, then you wouldn't require as much fat with the meal to make the most out of the provitamin A. Some research estimates that if the vegetables have undergone some cooking, then 5 grams of fat with that meal is completely sufficient, and further increase of the fat doesn't necessarily lead to more beta-carotene absorbed. However, other research papers who look at vegetables in their raw form in a salad found that salad dressings with 28 grams of fat improve the absorption greatly compared to 6 grams of fat salad dressing. So the absence or presence of a cooking method can greatly influence the amount of fat you might need with the meal. In case you don't like your spinach steamed in the salad, it's good to mention that even chopping this very difficult food matrix is going to improve the bioavailability of beta-carotene. And since we're on the topic of spinach, vitamin K1 is also found in dark leafy vegetables, actually primarily in dark leafy vegetables, while vitamin K2 is present in fermented food products, with its highest concentrations being in the fermented beans natto. Its contents in fermented cheeses are somewhat lower, but still notable. Vitamin K1 is responsible for the synthesis of coagulation proteins, so that when you cut yourself, you don't bleed out uncontrollably. This is what vitamin K1 was named after, basically. Vitamin K2 has a completely different function. It is involved in bone homeostasis and the synthesis of certain proteins, but we're going to cover this in the next section in the video in more depth. Here, the same rule is in place about improving the absorption of vitamin K1 from dark leafy greens. You need to at least chop the greens and, if possible, also cook them with a bit of fat. The rest of the fat-soluble vitamins you don't need to worry as much about. Vitamin D is mostly relevant if it's taken as a supplement. You just have to take it after or with a meal that had some fat in it so that you can make the most out of the supplement. There isn't a lot of vitamin D in our food sources anyways, and the food sources that contain a little amount, such as fatty fish or eggs, those already have plenty of fat in them, so you don't need to worry about those. It's kind of similar with vitamin E. Vitamin E is a potent antioxidant and it protects our cell membranes from oxidation. This one is found in seeds, in nuts, in seed oils, and in avocados to some extent. All of these food sources that I just described already contain a good deal of fat in them, so again, no need to worry about this fat-soluble vitamin in particular. Now we're moving into the interplay between the different nutrients involved in bone health. Those are vitamin D3, calcium, and vitamin K2. This topic is especially relevant for perimenopausal and postmenopausal women. This is the group that is the most affected by osteoporosis, and a great deal of the 20% of the population that is estimated to suffer from osteoporosis is actually found in this specific group. This is because of the drop in estrogen levels and all of the different hormonal changes that come with that. I made a video a few months ago about the importance of bone health. If you want, you can go and watch that later. Anyways, as you probably know, calcium and phosphorus make up the building blocks of our bones, the hydroxyapatites. The main source of calcium in our diet are dairy products, and for the people that are allergic to dairy, they could get a great deal of it from sesame seeds or tahini. In order for our body to absorb calcium properly, it needs to have sufficient levels of vitamin D. Without vitamin D3, it doesn't matter how much calcium you consume, your body is not going to uptake a great deal of it. A lot of times when you look for a vitamin D3 supplement, you're going to notice that it comes with a combination with K2. This is because vitamin K2 has been found to be very important for the synthesis of certain proteins that are involved in bone homeostasis, such as osteocalcin. Vitamin K2 helps our body direct the calcium that we've absorbed to the bone so that it doesn't make it to soft tissues and accumulate there and cause a lot of other different issues. So if you're going to get a vitamin D3 supplement, you might consider also getting one that comes in a combination with K2 so that you have both of these areas taken care of. We're moving into the third section in this video, and this is about non-heme iron, plant iron, and vitamin C. I've talked about iron multiple times in this channel because I believe it's so important. It's involved in proper nervous system function, in oxygen transport, and even in our thyroid function. And a great deal of women, especially because of our higher requirements for iron, are maybe not deficient but insufficient in iron. Insufficiency comes before deficiency. This means the concentrations in your body are suboptimal, but they're not that bad that it's going to cause you all of the clinical symptoms of an iron deficiency. Some things that you might experience if you're insufficient in iron are, for example, brain fog and constant fatigue and pale appearance of the skin. Those are kind of broad terms, but again, brain fog is a very logical consequence. If your brain's not getting enough oxygen, then of course you're going to experience difficulty concentrating. We have heme iron. This is the one that's found in animal sources such as beef, pork, all different types of red meat, and in eggs, but in lower concentrations. We also have non-heme iron. This is the one that's found in plant sources such as spinach, kale, lentils, and others. Non-heme iron has a significantly lower absorption rates compared to heme iron. It's somewhere in the ranges between 2 and 20%, while for heme iron, the estimations are up to 35%. With non-heme iron, there are many different factors that influence its absorption rate negatively, starting off with other compounds that are present in the plant sources of non-heme iron. An example of such compounds would be phytates. Those are found in lentils and they impair the absorption of other minerals as well because they can bind to them. Other anti-nutrients include oxalates. Those are found in dark leafy greens, also in spinach, in kale, and they can again bind to minerals and prevent our body from absorbing them. And finally, greater amounts of calcium in the same meal can also impair iron absorption, and this counts for both heme and non-heme iron. What you can do in this case to boost the iron absorption is to include vitamin C in the same meal. Vitamin C, or ascorbic acid, this is what vitamin C essentially is. This compound can reduce the ferric iron found in plants to ferrous iron, which is a more stable form that is better absorbed from our intestines. An example in real life would be to pair, let's say, lentils with red bell peppers. I actually did this when I made a shakshuka type of dish. Now I'm adding legumes to a lot of my dishes. This actually happened unintentionally, but I feel like it's a great example specifically for the non-heme iron absorption. Or if you want to keep it more simple, you can just kind of have kiwi with the same meal as a dessert, maybe like right after the meal that's high in non-heme iron, and this should also improve the situation. And about the calcium, maybe just don't have greater amounts of cheese in that specific meal that you're counting on for iron. This is more relevant in general for people who don't consume any type of red meat. So they need to be specifically cautious of the iron uptake in their bodies. If you're consuming red meat portions here and there, then it's not going to cause you great damage if you don't follow all of these rules. However, they are very important for vegetarians and for vegans, and maybe for people who don't like to eat red meat every single week. And another factor that is not relevant for vegetarians or vegans, unfortunately, is the meat factor, the meat protein factor. It's been found in research that if you have a small amount of meat protein in the same meal with non-heme iron, this is going to greatly improve the absorption. This doesn't apply to eggs, unfortunately, so it doesn't make it suitable for vegetarians. Eggs don't boost the non-heme iron absorption. And lastly, one research paper found that the consumption of a portion of oily fish, for example, salmon would be one, would also increase the absorption rate of non-heme iron. We have to note that this was observed in iron deficient women, and sometimes there are indeed differences in the way our bodies respond to nutrients depending on whether we're deficient in that nutrient or if we already have sufficient levels of it. The same meat protein factor is also observed when we talk about zinc, found in plant sources. Zinc is an essential mineral that is a cofactor for over 300 enzymes in our body, and those enzymes participate in so many different functions that have to do with protein synthesis, cell division, our immune system function, and many more. Zinc deficiency manifests in people like hair loss, skin lesions, impaired immune system function, slowed wound healing, and other unfavorable consequences. Oysters are the most impressive source of zinc ever. A small portion has multiple times the daily required amounts of zinc. But as I already said, here the plant sources are more relevant. We're talking about lentils, about different nuts like cashews and almonds, about kidney beans, those types of products. In lentils or kidney beans, for example, again, phytates are present, which can bind to zinc and prevent our body from absorbing it. A small portion of animal protein, again, not eggs, can significantly boost the uptake of zinc found in plant products. Last but not least, for this video, we need to cover probiotics and prebiotics together. This is a pretty exciting new area of research and a target for the development of future functional foods. The term synbiotics actually describes probiotics and prebiotics together. If you're not familiar with these terms, probiotics are the beneficial bacteria that are contained either in supplements or in some fermented foods such as sauerkraut, kimchi, also natto beans that I talked about earlier, dairy products like yogurt. The requirement for a bacterial strain to be called a probiotic is for it to have a beneficial impact on the host, so on you in this case. Those beneficial impacts can look like degrading toxins, competing with pathogenic strains for nutrients and for space as well, and also modulating immune system function. On the other side, we have prebiotics, and those are the food for the probiotics. These compounds often come in the form of fructooligosaccharides. Inulin is a very popular one. It's present in onions, in garlic, in Jerusalem artichokes. And also there are some small amounts of prebiotics in apples in the form of pectin, and also in oats. All of those compounds, the inulin, the fructooligosaccharides, they can be fermented by our gut microbiota, and then the so-called short-chain fatty acids are produced. This specific type of fatty acids have been researched in multiple articles, multiple studies for their positive influence on inflammation, on improving insulin sensitivity, and many other different areas of our health. At the same time, the consumed prebiotics would help the probiotic strains establish themselves in our gut so that they can more efficiently grow and multiply. For now, I can't think of a food that would combine both probiotics and prebiotics, so a symbiotic food. So consuming sources of them separately would be your only way to go about this. Thank you again for being here with me today. If you made it this far, I hope that you found this enjoyable and you learned something new. Let me know down in the comments if you have an idea about a future video you would like to see. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything new from me. In the description, I also have all of my socials, my website with my own nutrition counseling services, and also some recipes that I also post on TikTok and Instagram. Thank you again for being here with me today, and I will see you in the next video.